Hey, how's it going and welcome. I'm Rory from Wreck My Funeral. That was right, by the way. So welcome to another tech review. Now, today I have had the lovely people at Zalap send me a solar sensor light. It's pretty cool. It's officially called the Zalap 4-head solar-powered motion sensor flood lamp. And try saying that after 3 bottles of JD. So we're going to take a quick look at it, and I'm going to put it up on my driveway so it's overlooking my car. I've got a CCTV camera, and my idea is that this will light up the driveway. If somebody walks up the drive, the camera is recording. This will basically flood the area with light, meaning that the camera should then pick it up without having to use infrared. Now, while relatively simple, it does host a few interesting features, like the fact that it's made up of 4 different panels to give a 270 degrees worth of lighting. It can detect motion up to 180 degrees around it. It's all adjustable, it's really easy to mount, and apparently the battery lasts a good amount of time. Now, one thing I will just say is obviously something like this is always conducive to the weather, and the weather right now, I don't even know if you can hear, it's currently raining. So there's not a huge amount of sun, so I'm hoping I've got some power in it. We can have a little play with it and see what it's like, and I'll get it mounted up on the wall. But first, let's open the box and see what we've got. Okay, so in the box we have the light itself, we have a little mounting adapter bracket, user manual, a remote control, which I'm not quite sure why there's a remote control, but we'll find out, and some mounting screws. And that's about it. Now, the unit itself, it's fully adjustable and pivots around and moves about. And there you go, you can see there. Do you know what, in fact, let me come a bit nearer. Hello. So, this is the unit here. As you can see, it's made up of these 4 panels. I think there's about 133 LEDs. We've got the PIR, which stands for passive infrared, and that's the sensor that basically triggers the light to come on. And then on the top here, we've got the solar panel, which obviously collects the light from the sun to power it. This also has a sensor inside it to detect light, and therefore if it's light, the lights won't illuminate. It only works when it's dark. On the back, you can see it's all kind of much of a muchness. Everything is adjustable. You can tilt and pivot, and you can set it up so that you're getting light exactly where you want, which is good. There's a little button here with 3 modes. Well, technically 4, because 1 is off, and then there's 3 other modes. And I'll look at those in 2 seconds. You know, overall, it's a plastic construction. It feels fairly weighty. You know, I quite like the look of it. It looks pretty nifty, especially when you get it kind of all lined up like that. It looks quite cool. The way the mounting bracket works is you mount this on the wall, and then you slide this into it like that, and then that's what holds it in place. So obviously that does mean that it's quite an easy thing to install. Get that up on the wall and then attach this, and you're good to go. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not sure why there's a remote. It's got an on-off button, and it's got the 3 different modes. So you can select them from the remote or from the unit itself. So I'm curious as to how that works. The manual is pretty straightforward and simple, which I like. They don't expect you to read a ton of different languages. And in all fairness, it highlights, you know, the details. So the solar panel is 1.5 watts. Battery that's in it is a 3.7 2400 milliamp hour battery. Oh, it's actually 333 LEDs. So I mentioned 133. It's actually 333. It's 8 watts rated power. It says waterproof rate IP65. Now, it is branded as being waterproof. Now, depending on your understanding of IP ratings, something to note here is that an IP65 rating means that it will withstand pretty extreme weather, but it's not submersible. In fairness, for the use cases where it's going to be, IP65 is absolutely fine for this. It can be outside, it can get wet. The other thing is that you won't get dust ingress into the actual unit. That is why that's an IP rate 65. So, of the 3 modes, now excuse me while I read these from the manual so that I don't have to try and memorize them. Basically, as it says in the manual, mode 1, when people come, the light turns on at 100% brightness. The light will turn off 20 seconds after people leave. Mode 2, when people come, the light is at 100% brightness, and the light is always on at 10% brightness for 20 seconds after people leave. And then mode 3, the light stays on at 30% brightness at night without any infrared induction. So basically what we're saying is, if in mode 1, this will light up when someone walks in front of it, and it will stay lit for 20 seconds, and it will be at full brightness. And for mode 2, when somebody walks in front of it and it's triggered, it will come on at 100%, but then go down to 10% for 20 seconds after people have left. And then mode 3, basically it's permanently lit at 30%. Let's see if we can actually trigger it in here. So I'm going to put it onto mode 1. Actually, no, I'm going to put it onto mode 3 because then this should be permanently on. Now, like I say, it's very bright in here, so it won't come on unless, in theory, I cover this, and there you go. So that's 30%. Now, I know that in here and on a camera, it's not the best way to show off lighting. You know, how can you really tell? But what you could tell from 30%, I can tell you, it is pretty bright. So, right, now I've put it to mode 1, and I'll cover it over. I don't actually want to look right into that because that is now mega bright. Again, it's not so ideal in here. Although, what would happen if we turned all the lights off? Alexa, turn off the office lights. Alexa, turn off the office floodlight. Oh, there you go. So it's come on, and all I can tell you is that that's pretty bright. So it's good. I'm just going to put it onto mode 2. So basically, yeah, this will be on at like 10% until it gets triggered, and then it will come on bright for like 20 seconds or something like that. The remote. I'm just going to see if the remote works. Turn it off. Turn it on. The remote works. Mode 3. Yep, so that's the 10%. Okay, mode 1, that should be the full bright one. Yep, there it is. That's pretty cool. So you can control it from the button on the back, or you can actually walk up to it and use the remote. If you do put this somewhere in a place that it's kind of hard to get to, and you want to change, one moment, Alexa, turn on the office floodlight. Alexa, turn on the office lights. Sorry. If it is mounted somewhere out high and you do want to change the mode it's on, you've got a remote to do it. Now that's actually really useful because I have a PIR motion sensor floodlight already in my garden, and I've had to put that on a smart plug in order to switch it off if I don't want it to activate, because maybe I'm sitting in the garden with the chimney burning. I don't want the floodlight keep lighting up on me, so I have to switch that off using a smart plug. The fact that you can do this with a remote is a real positive, so that's a great feature. Now the next thing obviously is I want to get it up on the side of my office looking over the car. And you join me outside on my driveway. I'm doing this as a voiceover because it was so windy, there's no way I'd be able to get decent audio out there. As you can see, this is my driveway with the back of the office looking over it. I've got a small solar light already, and then over at the other end I've got a little turret CCTV camera. Now I can mount it below that, I could mount it in the middle there, or where the existing one is. And I've chosen to mount it here where the existing one is because I think the guttering would stop the solar panel from seeing the sky very well. So first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 3 holes that are in the back of the adapter. I'm just using a thin drill bit just to go through. And now I'll drill properly so that I can then pop in the raw plugs. That last one was a bit of a pig. I'll then mount the adapter plate onto the wall using the screws that came with it. And I need to get rid of the old light. As you can see, it was getting dark as I was doing this. And then I'll mount the light onto it. It just clips into place. And then just a bit of adjustment to get the various different panels in the way I wanted them. I thought I'll have one looking into the garden and then the other 3 looking over the car. And there it is. It triggers really easily. You walk up to it, it turns on. It's pretty sensitive. It does seem that it is sensitive enough that it's picking up any cars that drive past and coming on. So I might just look to angle it down a little bit. And there you can see it's triggered as I'm walking up the driveway. And this is the view of the CCTV camera. As you can see right now we're using infrared mode on the camera because the light's not on. That's the light switched on because it's just detected me coming up to the gate. And then what we'll see here is that the IR on the camera actually switches off, and now we've got a full color image. Obviously I'm filming a monitor that's displaying a camera feed, so that's why the quality's like it is, but I'm still quite impressed with how decent that light is. So overall this is a pretty smart bit of kit. I like the way you can adjust it and you can make it suit your needs and so on. The one thing I would say is that this bracket is a little bit limited. Now, what I've done is I've actually come up with a few variations on this bracket because, like I say, depending on where you're putting it, as we saw, my gutter is kind of in the way, so I wanted to extend it out a little bit. But what if you want to put it on a corner, you know? So, I will show you some variations that I have made. So this is my own design for a corner bracket for this. and you place it on like that, and that will hold that in there. Now, I'll just bring this over and show you. You can mount that in a corner, you see, and then the light sits on top of it. I've also made an extension version. So this is twice as long, so it brings it twice as far away from the wall if you need. And then finally, I've got an angled version. So if you look at how these are sitting, this one allows you to mount it slightly more angled down in case there's something blocking the solar panel on the top. So the details for this is in my description. Like I say, they retail around about $45, which is about £37. But do check in my description because there's a code in there that allows you to get it a little bit cheaper. Plus, if you do want any of the accessories that I've made, these different types of mounting adapters, then also check the description. There's a link to my little Etsy shop where you can pick these up. And I've got, like I say, I've got the angle, I've got the corner, the extension, but I've also replicated the original one so that if you've lost this or whatever, then you can pick up a spare from there if you'd like. So overall, I really like this. It's a good little bit of kit. I'm really glad I've now got this to put up over my driveway. That's going to really help me when I'm reversing on at night as well. So, I thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, and then you can always subscribe to the channel, and hitting the little bell will notify you when I put up new videos. And I really appreciate any feedback or anything that you want to put into the comments. And as I mentioned before, do please check out my little Etsy shop. I've got a few kind of interesting things. If you're into golf, I've got a phone holder for a golf buggy cup holder in there. If you've got Philips Hue lights and you're in the UK, I've got adapters that allow you to put the remote over the switches. If you're into your fish tanks, I've got aquarium aquascaping tool holder mounts that you can mount all of your tools under the fish tank and keep them all really nice and neat. Please feel free, go and have a look, and again, any feedback, I love hearing people's thoughts on the stuff that I'm doing. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye for now.